Hey guys! As you know, the Nintendo Switch is turning 7 years old soon, so I thought it'd be nice to go back and look at the accomplishment it's made over the years. Oh, big deal, I did that when I was 5. As we all know, the Switch 2 is on the horizon, which can only mean one thing for the current Switch. A number at the end of its name. Now, as excited as I am for the Switch 2, now we don't actually know what it looks like, so a quick Google search here should help us, and... Really? Yeah, I'm not sure who made this design for the Switch 2, but it isn't very good. I mean, the controllers have this weird feature that look like they slide up and down, and it makes them look really strange compared to the normal Switch. The normal Switch has a very modern and sleek feel to it, and they dropped that for more of a playful look with this one. And I'm not really sure how I feel about that. It feels kind of like a downgrade in my opinion. And as far as I can see, it doesn't appear to have any triggers in the back, nor does it have the plus or minus button, so I'm not really sure what this one's supposed to be. I will say though, the screen does have a knife shape, being rounded at the edges, but other than that, this doesn't have a lot going for it. I mean, it's just a Switch 2, but bad. I mean, that one was cool and all, but I'm looking for something that looks like more of a progression instead of a regression, so let's take a look at the next one, and wow! This one's actually good. This one has a more futuristic design to it, and I like that the screen kind of hangs over the top so it has room to show the logo at the bottom. And with this one, you'd also get a real D-pad instead of the buttons that the original Switch had, which would be amazing because even though it worked fine for single controller use, it just felt a little off to have it replace the D-pad as a whole, especially when the Pro controller still has one. Now, the color choice is really the only thing here that I bat an eye at, because, I mean, white buttons with gray controllers just looks kind of odd. I mean, if they were inverted, maybe it would have looked a little better, but no. Yeah, they just look kind of weird here. But if we take a look at some more realistic options, it's probably going to look something more like this. Yeah, this is the one that people are saying is supposed to be the official new Switch, and if you want my honest opinion, it's alright. I mean, I feel like people got their hopes up way too high. I mean, this is basically what a Switch looks like, so I imagine the Switch 2 is going to look somewhat similar. I don't know what people were really expecting with this one. And I mean, this is clearly very early on. I mean, there's no color to it, so it's obviously an early mock-up, which means it could look completely different, and we won't know until it comes out. I'm looking for something in between the second and third ones I showed you, something that looks like a progression, but at the same time doesn't stray too far from the original. Now, I can't really imagine what it would look like in my head, but I'm sure Nintendo could pull something off like that, especially since all their other consoles have had good designs. Well, except that one. Now, in order to know what to do to make a second Switch, you need to know what not to do. So a few things I don't want for the Switch 2. Number 1, a boring interface. Now, the DS, Wii, and Wii U all had something going on, whether it was themes or at the very least music. The Switch has none of that. It just feels very lifeless, and every time I load it up, it's just strange seeing a white background with no sound whatsoever. Number 2, Virtual Console. Now, I don't know why, but Nintendo just refuses to put Virtual Console games out. I mean, they have some on Nintendo Switch Online, but I'm not really looking for subscription services to play old games. I'm looking for games I can buy, not games that I can pay monthly to play, especially when they're old games that aren't really worth that much money nowadays. And I mean, at the very least, they can at least release collections of the old games, like Namco Museum or Mario All-Stars, just something like that. Number 3, a camera. Now, this is something a lot of people probably don't care about, but there were so many cool DS games that use the camera, and I feel like there's so much potential for that still. Not to mention, it gives kids a way to take pictures or videos if they're on vacation and don't have a phone. Me personally, I have so many pictures and videos of me over the years owning my DS, but I'm not sure where my DS went because I lost it when I moved. But one day, I'm hoping that it'll appear somewhere because it had years worth of pictures and memories that I couldn't replicate if I wanted to. And I think that's something everybody should get to do, whether they have a phone or not. And number 4, just better games in general. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, the Switch had a lot of good games, but one issue I found with it is that it also just had a lot of mediocre ones. I mean, it had no good Pokemon games, one really good Mario game, along with Mario 3D All-Stars, which isn't anything new, and along with Mario 3D World. Again, a lot of games on here were just Wii U ports, which is kind of disappointing, but when they tried new games, it was always hit or miss with me. What I want for the Switch 2 is for them to try new things and not focus too hard on re-releasing games from like the Wii U onto the Switch. I mean, a new Kid Icarus game would be nice, but we all know that isn't going to happen. But one of the biggest games I feel like has a chance to be released is Mario Odyssey 2. I mean, it's been rumored for so long now, and I just feel like it would be the next natural progression for the Switch. I mean, Breath of the Wild got a sequel, and it and its sequel were both extremely fun games, but Mario Odyssey left its mark, and that's about it. No DLC like Breath of the Wild, just nothing. And I feel like it deserves so much more than that. Mario Odyssey 2 would be an amazing launch title, or even a game that comes out a little after the system's launch. And number 5, backwards compatibility. I mean, this one pretty much goes without saying. It's the Switch 2. It would just make sense if it can play original Switch games. Every other Nintendo console has had some form of backwards compatibility, and it would be silly to stop that with the Switch 2, especially since there's a lot of games I haven't experienced still. And well, that's it for Switch 2 leaks and rumors. I mean, it's still pretty early on in the rumoring phase, so there's not really a whole lot to cover, but there is one thing I need to do. I'm going to send Nintendo the list of things that I want for the Switch 2 and see what they approve, so let's just go ahead and send that really fast. Yeah, that sounds about right.